Hello there, YouTube viewers. This is Bible Year 2009. Real quickly and briefly, I want to do a video about political correctness. I've been wanting to do one for some time because I believe that political correctness is a form of mind control. And you notice that political correctness right now is being pushed by the mass media, the mainstream media, and the government. But the government right now doesn't have to enforce it with law so much as of yet, because they're using the mass media to brainwash and to program the American sheeple. I call them the sheeple now because they're buying everything. Most people are sheeple these days. Brain dead zombies that will believe anything they see on the mainstream media. If it's on CNN or MSNBC or Fox, it must be true. But they're using the mass media to brainwash and program the population to make them think that political correctness is somehow the law of the land, and that it's mandatory and everybody must do it. Everybody must think alike. Everybody must toe the same party line. You must think and act like the collective. No individuals here. The media is programming people with this, and over a period of years, people have been exposed to this message from their television, their movies, the movie theater, books, music. I mean, the mainstream market, the mainstream horror media. They're being exposed to this, and you get exposed to it long enough, you start to believe it. You're getting programmed, and you don't even know it, and you just start doing it. And we have been programmed and brainwashed to think that this is okay. Political correctness, we see examples of this. Basically, political correctness says, well, you better not have the wrong beliefs. You better not say the wrong thing or think the wrong thoughts. It's like thought police. And it's something right out of George Orwell's 1984. Newspeak, which is where they mess around with the language. You can't say in certain words. And then there is the whole idea of the thought police, thought crimes. And that's exactly what they're trying to enforce. It's a form of mind control. This is a form of communistic control over people, over what they believe, over how they think. You see, they're trying to strip you of your First Amendment rights without you even knowing they're doing it. They're stripping you of your right to decide for yourself, to think for yourself, of your ability of self-determination. The government and the media, they want to do the thinking for you, and you've got to resist that, people. Political correctness, it's a tool for control. And it is probably one of the most, today, it is probably one of the most evil, the mass media today is one of the most evil and just insidious tools in a tyrant's belt today. Hitler would have loved to have had the mainstream media that we have today in his back pocket. And things could have been far different if he had. And I really believe our system is controlled and we have an illusion of freedom. I've read quotes by George Bernay, who admits that the mainstream media, he invented the mass media and marketing, that the elite use the media to mold the population, to tell the population what to think, so they can basically manufacture a false consensus. Because he says he believes that the people need to be controlled. But he admits that there's elite, these people that made the mainstream mass media. I've got quotes from these people. They understand, they know, they believe it's fact that the elite control the media and they use it to manipulate the population. And one of the many things they're promoting is political correctness. I remember when I was a kid a long time ago, I watched a television show. I didn't understand it then, I understand it now, but it was about a football player, I guess. He prayed on his own. He didn't ask anybody else to pray, but he prayed before a game. And in the next part of the show, the coach is dragging him before the team and says, you need to apologize to the team simply for praying and practicing his faith, or you're off the team. And he says, no, I'm not going to apologize. That's my faith. And so then he goes, but then according to this show is propaganda is what I'm getting at. But anyway, he winds up going to a Catholic church cathedral and praying in front of a statue of Mary. I remember this show. And all of a sudden he comes back and he says, oh, coach, I'll apologize. I didn't have the right attitude. And he just conforms, you see. And this reminds me of, and by the way, people act like, too, this political correctness is law. It's not law yet, if we can fight it, okay? If we can prevent it. But people think it is because of generation of people over the past 30, 40 years being brainwashed with it and indoctrinated with it in the media. They think it's the way it is. Everybody must think the same. Everybody must have the same beliefs and say the same things the same way. It kind of reminds me of the Borg Collective. You ever watch Star Trek? And you have the Borg. They're this race, and they use technology, and they're all connected into a hive mind through technology, and everybody, they think alike. There's no individuals. Basically, they destroy your individuality, and you just exist. You just exist. You're a mindless automaton, and you just exist for the benefit and the pleasure of the collective. You see what I'm saying? And I'm reminded of an episode of the Borg, of Star Trek Voyager, where there was a Borg named 7 of 9. If you watched the show, you know she was a Borg that got disconnected from the collective. She was rescued by the crew of Voyager, Captain Janeway on there, and she becomes a part of the crew. She gets her individuality back, and she struggles with that for a while. And then there's a show where she does a flashback to when she was still in the Borg, okay, and she gets, her and this other group of Borg, I think it was like 2 other of them in a small ship. They get stranded on a planet. They crash, they get stranded, and they get disconnected from the Borg hive mind. Okay, 2 of them, the 2 of the Borg, they're like, oh yeah, this is great, and they start to get their individuality back, and they start waking up, you see, which is what happens in a lot of situations with a lot of people, and they started waking up. They didn't want to go back to the Borg Collective. They wanted to keep their individuality. They discovered their freedom, you see. The 7 of 9, she got scared. She panicked. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm disconnected from the hive. What do I do? Oh. And she started experiencing, and what I think the show beautifully, the character, Jerry Ryan, who played the character, acted out, was, I think, in a sense, cognitive dissonance. Her reality was challenged, and she panicked, and she went, and she, you know how they had the Borg, they have little tubes that come out of their hands, they stick it in your neck, and then they assimilate you. Well, she did that to them and reassimilated. She panicked. He says, oh no, I'm not going to lose my reality. I'm scared. And so she assimilates them and takes them back into the Borg. And then years later, she has to deal with the consequences of that. But that show brought out a lot of good points, because Star Trek usually does, you know. And they bring out these really good philosophical points. But that's what happens to a lot of people. That's why you have these stories of people getting in trouble at colleges and stuff like that for saying the wrong thing, and they get hammered, and they have to go to sensitivity classes, you know, and kids getting in trouble at school for wearing Christian T-shirts because it might offend somebody. And these school administrators, they act like that's the law of the land, and it's not. And whenever you challenge one of these people in their little reality, oh my gosh, boy, you can just see the fear in their eyes. They're like bug-eyed at you. They're like, you know, and you, you know, and then they hammer you, you know. And it's like you see it's cognitive dissonance is what's going on here. And it's like, and it's so aggravating for me because I know the truth. I'm awake. And that's the thing nowadays. Political correctness is, but what it is, man, is controlling what you believe. What it's controlling what you're going to say, how you're going to say it. It's stripping you your First Amendment right to speak freely, to have your own mind, your own opinion, to think critically. And they call that tolerance. I call it mind control. I call it manipulation. Which is why on my channel, I'll probably do more than one video on this as more cases come out about this. But I mean, dude, I experienced some political correctness when I was in the military. I used to read my Bible when I would get done cooking in the dining hall. I would read my Bible out at the table. We'd all have our meal, an hour, about 30 minutes to an hour, I guess, maybe 45 minutes for our breakfast meal after we got done serving breakfast. And people would go eat their breakfast, and they would be reading different things. I know one guy, there's some people that read tabloids. One lady would always read a novel. I was reading my Bible. And I had a staff sergeant tell me I had to go in the office by myself and read my Bible because I might offend somebody. Now that's treating me like a second-class citizen because I'm a Christian. And that's basically saying that my beliefs are not as good enough as somebody else's. That basically is hypocritical. The tolerance supporters out there who try to say all beliefs are equal. If that's the case, why are Christians being censored? Why are we so offensive? You see what I'm saying? You're always afraid the Christian might offend somebody. I thought my beliefs are just as good as anybody else, according to the people that promote tolerance. But anyway, all this tolerance crap and might offend somebody, and diversity and inclusion, it's a bunch of crap. You see, what they want to do is, you notice they talk about let's be diverse, and let's be inclusive. Include everybody but Christians. We're the bad guys. We're the enemies. I have a video talking about how they're bashing Christians right now. I noticed that it's tolerance and inclusion and diversity for everybody but Christians. But, you know, And that's what it is, man. They're using that to reprogram the people, to force them. It's basically political correctness is somebody forcing there's somebody else forcing their ideology on you and denying your right to have your own beliefs, your own opinion. And that's what's going on. That's why they get mad, because Christians might pray in public. They don't want kids praying in school. That's why they won't let kids read the Bible in school. And all these ridiculous restrictions on freedom of speech. That's why I've had police chasing me off or trying to go out street preaching, sharing the gospel on a public sidewalk. Instead of protecting my rights, the police will threaten to arrest me, like they did in Van Buren and Alma. Well, Van Buren, exactly. Let me get that straight. That was in Van Buren. But the police in Alma I had a problem with. They pretty much kept suggesting over and over again I need to go somewhere else. And I did. I complied. Because I do respect police officers, and I, trying to keep good testimony out there. But I did try to address the issue later, defending my rights, But this political correctness is being used like a sledgehammer. I mean, just blow after blow against freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I mean, just against the right of self-determination, the right to think for yourself. The government wants to control what you're thinking. And you ever notice how in the media they always say, you got to be mainstream. They talk about, well, you're out of the mainstream. You're a kook. I've seen Bill O'Reilly do that. I've seen Sean Hannity. I've seen them do it on MSNBC, CNN, you name it. And what they're doing, what they're telling you? You know what they're really telling you? You're not thinking like the collective. You must be a part of the collective. How dare you think your own thoughts? How dare you be an individual and actually think like a free human being? You're a kook. You must be a kook. You must be a threat. You're not thinking like the rest of us. And it's creepy. That's what political correctness is, and we better wake up to that and put a stop to it. But anyway, I want to do this brief video and just talk about this, because this is one thing that really irritates, it makes me angry to realize how me and my fellow Americans and people around the world, and this is happening in other countries too, by the way. This is, New World Order, global government coming in, we tell you, this is what it's all about. But just knowing that people are being lied to and manipulated and programmed, and our country is being changed from what it once was, a free country about individual freedom and liberty, into a communistic, fascist, totalitarian nightmare. That's what's happening. And a lot of people are blind to that. This is not the America that our parents and their parents grew up with, man. They've been changing it over the last 50 to 100 years. It's been slow through incrementalism. I can prove it. I've got the documents. Okay? And I'm going to go over my evidence here. I'm going to do videos on this. I'm going to prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there is a conspiracy to destroy America's institutions of freedom, to destroy our Western Judeo-Christian culture, and to replace it with a new world order. I can prove it, and political correctness is a part of it. There is an Illuminati, there is an elite, they basically are in control of the big banks. These 13 families are in control of these offshore banks. They're taking over, they're destroying America, they're taking over, they're enslaving the population, and they're taking over worldwide in these different other countries, implementing the same kind of media, implementing a central bank, okay, the same system worldwide. And eventually they're going to unify it together under the Antichrist in a new world order. And we better wake up. We better resist. Yeah, baby. Freedom. I'm getting excited, man. I know I'm on the right track. I know the truth. People keep calling me a kook on here. They keep calling me crazy. Because I dare to question the status quo. I dare to question the mainstream of what we're being told. I've studied history. I'm still studying it. Some of you who are criticizing me, bother to go and get off your fat rear end, turn the TV off, get you a book. Okay? Go read history. Study it. As I am doing. Get these books by like John Robinson, a book he written in 1798, Proofs of Conspiracy. That's where you need to start at. Okay, there's other books I can recommend, and I will later. But folks, I'm telling you, this is fulfilling Bible prophecy. They're preparing the world to accept the Antichrist. They're bringing it in. And the Christian churches are asleep. And they're not ready. And I really believe, I'm concerned about people teaching the rapture doctrine, because the rapture, people go, oh, we're going to get raptured out of here. We don't want to worry about that. We don't want to hear about it. We don't know about it. We don't want to know about it. We're going to be gone, so heck with it. But that's not the truth. That may not be so. Okay? We've got to worry about this. Because the Bible predicts a time where this situation where they're bashing Christians and this political correct, they're going to use that to eventually criminalize Christianity. Christians will be arrested for being enemies of the state, is what's going to happen, and sent to FEMA camps, sent to concentration camps. I'm telling you, they've already built in the FEMA camps all around the country. They're just getting the population to go ready to go along with it. Just like Hitler had to do before he could ever lay a finger on the Jews, he had to propagandize and brainwash the German people using the mass media and the television and the movies, always portraying Jews as the bad guys, as the villains, as disease, as threats, as enemies of the state. He brainwashed the German people into believing that, so when the time came, they went along with it. And he poisoned their minds with hate. And that's what our media and our government are doing, folks. They're doing this worldwide. We got to wake up. We don't have much time. It's my hope and prayer that people will wake up. Thank you, and God bless you. Thanks for watching my channel, and I will have more videos coming. Thank you, God bless you.